We're live. Hey, Apprentice Squad, how's it going? Welcome to another live stream here with you guys, the stream team on the channel. Super excited to have you guys all here today. We are going to actually be able to work, actually start putting it into foam, our ultimate crafting gauntlet that we've been patterning for the last little bit. So I got the pattern printed out, digitized. My printer was not working, so sorry I started a little bit late here. I could not get my printer to work. I had to run to the UPS store and print off the pattern super quick. Just barely got back and I'm hit like go live right now. So hopefully we have the team here. Let's see. I see we had Juries on earlier. Faker Maker Props, Gauntlet, Rose Colored Cottage. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. With that, I think let's just jump in and get started. So here's the pattern. I've got the front here, and then the instructions like I usually have, just explaining what the different color markings and stuff means. And then here's our pattern. So we've got to tape these two pages together, and then we can cut out that piece. Since I've got it from the store, I had them printed on cardstock, all fancy. So we'll tape these two together, cut them out. We've got our little straps there, our little piece that goes on top of the back of the wrist, back of the hand, and then we've got our other top flat piece. So I'm excited to jump in on this and get going on it. So let's do it to it. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. Happy to jump in and answer your guys' cosplay questions as well as we kind of go through this. If anything sparks a question as we're working through this as well, drop it in there. I'll try to check the chats every so often and be able to catch up on those, as well as try to get this build going. So hey, what's up, C-Bones? Sammy C-Bones. April says, so your printer basically acted like a normal printer. Yes, I have brand new toner in there and it's telling me there's no toner. So I tried all kinds of things, tried resetting it, tried figuring out how to reset the toner to tell it like, no, these are full, I just barely put these in here. But nothing was working, it wasn't listening to me. I even tried factory resetting the whole printer, and yeah, it was not having any of it. So I am just gonna pick up. So if you guys can see here, I actually taped down my pattern. For those of you that aren't familiar with the process, my process at least, I'll use magic tape. That's what I call it, where you just roll up tape. So it's kind of double sticky basically, and I just stick it down to my cutting mat, which has measuring markings on it for inches here on this side, centimeters on the other, and then I just take a picture as straight up as possible, straight above it, from right above it as possible, to get a good picture of it with the measuring markings in the image. Then I'll take that picture into the computer, and then I can create an artboard in like Illustrator or whatever vector drawing program, free or otherwise. Take that, make your like board size that you're working with the size of the measuring markings here, and then you just scale that picture up or down to fit into that space, and then you just start tracing out your patterns. And then I was able to just convert them into a digital form. So that's kind of how I did that. Check out what we got for the gauntlet that came in. This is a honing steel, so I no longer have to steal the one from our kitchen knife block. I actually got this one. It's a 5-inch length thing, because for the most part, when we're sharpening our little X-Acto knives, our dope knives, and our other things, I don't need the full big long length that I would need with like a big butcher knife or something like that. So I got this smaller one And the nice thing about this, it's a nice brand, Victorinox, however you say that. But the nice thing too is because the length is shorter, handle's about the same, but it's actually going to be a better length to be able to fit on the underside of the arm here. So that'll work great for our little contraption that we're going to have, where we can go and that comes out. We grab it like that, sharpen our knife, drop it back in, pops it back down out of the way. So that should fit along the arm a lot better, being a shorter length compared to my other one that's kicking around here somewhere that's much longer. Anyway, they're under somewhere, but it's significantly longer. So this will be really great for our use, and it's just smaller size to be able to fit easier in your space. So, okay, with that, let's go ahead and start going on this with the pattern. So I've got, there's 3 main pages of the pattern, aside from kind of the title page and the instructions. So the first 2 pages, 1 and 2, are going to get taped together. And I'm actually going to turn on some of these cameras here real quick so I can film parts of this, so I can make a video out of this for you guys. Give me just a second. Sorry, I'm off camera for a sec. I just need to find my HDMI cable for this one. Is that the one? There we are. Okay, sorry guys. Just looking in this camera so that I can see what's going on. And film a little bit of this patterning process here, or about using the pattern, essentially. Alright, so if you have clear tape, you can use that and just clear tape it right here on the front. I don't know. Otherwise, you can just use the contractor's tape, which works just fine as well. Either way is a fine option. We got some clear tape here that we'll use. That way I can just press this down nice and tight together. I'm going to pull off a piece about the length of my paper here. I'm going to stick it down to the table right before my paper starts. And then pull it nice and tight across the paper, making sure that they're touching the whole way across, so we get it as accurate as possible. And then I had a little bit of overlap on either side. You can just grab that, flip it around, stick it down on the reverse side. Okay, there we go. Now our pattern is ready to cut out. Here's our other piece. This all fit on one page. So we're ready to cut these out. Let me see who we got. If we have any other questions coming up here, let's see. Faker Maker Props. I just got a new 3D printer, the Anycubic Mega X. Sweet. That's awesome. Congrats. Sammy Seabone says, Skylar, what material would you use for a helmet visor, especially red? So a red helmet visor. So you want the material to be red. So I would look at a couple different options that you can do. If you're wanting to go with like a super cheap plastic, you can do kind of what I did, and you just use like material, plastic containers, old plastic containers kind of thing for like, what did I get this from? There's probably from like a, you know, when sometimes when you buy shirts, they come in like clear, they have like a clear plastic cover over the top, or different toys and stuff like that, or you know, you have spinach containers and stuff like that. That's what I did this out of, was something like that. And then you can just get like a plastic dye at the store, and you can dye your visor, tint it different colors, that kind of thing, and tint it the color that you want. But if you want a really good clean red color, then I would look at getting an acrylic sheet or something like that. Also depends on how much curve you have on the visor, what that looks like and stuff. But you can get, you know, not clear acrylic. You can get like a red acrylic that's already like dyed red, but acrylic is super clear. You can see through it really well, and you can get it in all sorts of different thicknesses, and so you'd be able to get it in a thickness that you would want for that. And I believe you can gently heat the acrylic and add a curve into it. I don't know about doing compound curves, but you can add a simple curve into it by gently heating it and kind of adding that curve in. So yeah, hopefully that gives you some ideas or some options that you can do with that. Hey Leia, how's it going? But yeah, great question from Sammy. Okay, so got my scissors, got my pattern here, ready to go. We're gonna cut out the A piece. Start here. I'm gonna try to clamp this down. Or make this. No, that's not gonna work. Okay. Whatever. I'll just continue to use this camera to record it, and we'll get some shots of me cutting this up. Anyway, hope you guys had a great week. What have you guys all been up to? Just adjusting the camera there. Anybody got fun plans for the weekend? It's kind of nice having this kind of cardstock. I usually just do plain paper, so it's kind of a little treat. Have the pattern be a little bit stiffer. There's our A piece, so you can see, got it marked. Got it marked as A here. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust the camera and get that in as well. So this is our A piece, and then we've got our B piece there, and then our C piece, our D, and our E piece. So we're going to go ahead and cut those out as well. Let me see, is this an okay angle for you guys? Let's see if maybe... if this one, is this one any better? Let me know. For you guys to be able to see. Oh yeah, the mini con you went to last week was so fun and really cute. That's awesome. Yeah, I was curious how that turned out for you. That's great. Loading up my Redbubble store with art to get that business going. It's so time consuming. Yeah, I bet. Running a business is time consuming, that is for sure. But yeah, that's exciting though. My guess is with these straps I'm going to end up cutting them longer than what I'm cutting them out here. So once I get it onto the foam, I might just extend that out, because I only took these to where they're going to duck in to the foam, and so we may add on to that like an inch or two just to be able to give it something to kind of glue down underneath on the inside of the gauntlet too. Here. Alright, we've got A, C, D, and E. Now we just need our B piece and we'll have it all cut out. Then we can go in with our registration mark chopper and our puncher, registration punch, and mark out our registration marks on there. So now there's a couple markings on this that are going to help us in different situations. So we marked kind of where the top of our piece was going to go. Where kind of our markers would be able to fit and sit where kind of was the flat part of the top of the arm, if that makes sense. So that's what we marked here, and then here, and then here we have just kind of, I marked where this would actually get kind of glued down along that edge for this flap and everything. So, and actually I think we're going to glue down all of from this over on here. So yeah, there's our B piece. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Sammy, I did answer the question a little bit earlier, but if you want to go back and see it, but also I said basically you can use, you know, if you're trying to go really cheap, you can go with just like plastic that you'd get from packaging, whether it's like spinach containers or from like buying from a shirt that somebody bought recently or somebody's birthday toys that have the clear plastic in front of them, anything like that that has kind of more of a thicker plastic. You can use that, cut it into shape, and you can actually dye it the color that you want with like a dye that works for plastics, and you just kind of dip it multiple times until it gets to how rich of a color you want. That can be a little bit tricky sometimes, a little bit of a learning curve with trying to do that. But also I said that you can get just acrylic already in the color that you want. You can get it in different thicknesses and stuff like that. And you can use that. And it looks like Kaido Tico said that they've used red acrylic glass for lenses before. So the nice thing about acrylic, it's super clear. With some of these other plastics, it might be a little bit, you know, wavy, not perfectly like see-through, a little bit of a decrease in visibility, even though you can see through it. Might be a little bit foggier or cloudier kind of thing. Then like an acrylic, it's going to be really clear to be able to see through. So that's definitely an option right there. So. Yeah, and you can get acrylic just already in a good red color, so you're not having to try to dye your own plastic. Let's see. Yeah, Kaido, thank you so much for joining us. Glad to have you for a bit. Yeah, you can use welders' face shields too. I don't know if they come in red. Usually they tend to have more of like a sunglass or a green tint to them. But those work great as well. That's what I did for the Clone Trooper helmet and what I'm doing for the Mandalorian. So those work great. Okay, cool. Sorry, I was talking to camera here, but you guys are on this camera here. Keep doing that. I need to adjust my camera setup. Actually, you know what? I can turn this. We'll see if this is any better of an angle for you guys. I don't know that that one's necessarily a better angle right now, because it's just coming from behind me and my arm's just going to be in the way of everything. Let's just go with this one. I think this one's going to show you guys everything the best. Okay, so here we go. Let's do our registration marks. So if you guys remember, we kind of marked it here and here to tell us where this was going to line up with each other, like where the strap should come and attach. And then, so this one's kind of interesting because I have these registration marks further in. If you guys can see that, I don't know that it's showing up. The camera's a little too bright, but right along here I have registration marks that normally would be on the edge, but we're going to be overlapping as we bring this around. We're going to be overlapping the one side over the other just a little bit so we can avoid kind of a pinch point that can happen with a gap and you're trying to tighten stuff down. It can kind of pinch your skin. So I extended this a little bit, but I left the registration marks here so we can kind of see where we anticipated this lining up, so you can see the registration marks line up a little bit more like right there. Now there may be some adjustments and stuff I need to make to this pattern, like that kind of lines up. Anyway, we'll test. I don't know if our registration marks will continue to line up because I did adjust a few things to try to increase that length, but I think they're going to match up pretty close right there, and that will look pretty good for our gauntlet. So But let's grab our pattern notcher, which usually is over here. Okay, where'd it go? Pattern notcher, where are you? Okay. Guess we're gonna show you guys how to do it old school without a pattern notcher. Because can't find mine at the moment. Okay, so a couple different ways you can do your registration marks. You can do scissors. Let me get my head out of the way, and you just kind of clip in at one direction, clip in at the other, get yourself just a nice little triangle, just like that. The other thing you can do, grab your dope knife, do the same thing, start at the point, work your way out, get yourself a nice little triangle. I was so excited to use the pattern notcher on this cardstock too. Oh well. Okay. Yes? The what? Yeah.
Seems pretty far because we scooted the table over.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you could zoom in at all. Hi, everybody.
I can. Okay, the screen's gonna go to the YouTube channel for a second. And I'm just gonna try to zoom in on this camera a little bit more for you guys. Oops. Okay, sorry guys, just a second. What does it say? Okay, which one says zoom?
The top one.
And then what are the other ones?
Focus and iris.
Able to like move it up more.
I don't think so. I think you'd have to move that back. Like move this. More like that. I don't know how to get it to stay.
Yeah, because it's already tilted all the way, huh?
Sorry, did I make it worse? I just felt like I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, well, I was worried that people couldn't see anything. Sorry guys, just a second. Is that better if I can get it to lock there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see if we can can get it to stay there, I think it's going to slowly
Yeah.
move back then. Oh, it's holding. It's holding okay.
I see it moving. Oh, is that not what we're looking at?
No, we're looking at this one. Okay, so if I zoom a little bit more. That's a bit
Just
better, yeah?
make sure you don't put your head in the way. I don't think it's in the way anymore.
That's a bit better, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now can you flip it so they're seeing what you're seeing versus like the upside down version?
They should be seeing that, right? Like my hands are coming in from this side.
Okay. Hey everybody! Hi Leia! Hi Sammy! Hey April! Hey Thomas!
Okay. Oh, hey! Thomas is on?
Yeah.
Okay, back to this. And now,
It's black.
do you want to say hi to everybody?
I'm not ready for the day.
Okay.
Hide behind you.
Okay.
I spend my Friday morning getting kids through homeschool, through distance learning days.
Thomas, how's your Glowforge going? All right. Here we go. Hopefully you guys can see this a little bit better now. You see the pattern notcher anywhere?
That's what I was looking for.
I was all excited to use it with the cardstock because it works really well with cardstock.
It's so weird that it's gone. That was one of the things that was just...
Yeah, it's just I always stick it on that magnet board. I feel like one of the kids had to have run off with it or something.
Sure. Blame the kids.
So this would be a lot faster with the pattern punch, but...
He said he's still waiting on it. They're back ordered.
Oh, shoot. That would be so frustrating. You're like so excited to get it and you have to wait like super long to get it. Okay. For these, I'm just gonna cut a little slit in here. So I can just get my pen in and mark these slots where I had the registration marks there. And then I had some here too. I'm not sure fully what they correlate with. But I'm just going to trust my past self and cut out all my registration marks that I marked on the pattern. And I'm sure all will be revealed as we begin to put it together. Okay. Now I do want to transfer these markings so I can see them on the foam. I'm just going to do some little dashed cut lines along here. Same along here. And then also I'm going to mark where my different overlapping items were supposed to go. So here we marked where the straps should be connecting. So I'm just going to kind of do some little dashed cut lines around this shape. So you can see, if you can see from this angle on the pattern, I have that these kind of shaded areas is where there's overlapping pieces that are going to get glued on top of this, and I have kind of in a shadow, like just a slightly darker color than the filled in area here, the letter of which piece is going to go into that spot. So
Found it.
you did?
That's right.
I'm all done cutting them out now though.
Aw, I felt like a hero.
Shoot. Here, let me see.
It has dog hair on it.
Did the dog steal it then?
No, it looks like it fell where you dropped it.
Well, sorry kids, didn't mean to blame you. Ah, it's beautiful on the cardboard, on the cardstock. Okay, well, there we go. Well, now you guys saw how to do it if you don't have a pattern notcher. So this one will be the D strap piece. This one will be the E strap piece.
So you're just kind of scoring it?
So on these, yeah, I'm just kind of cutting along with a little dash, just so I can outline where those are going to get glued on, so that I know where to place them. So I'm going to do the same thing here with my measuring tape around this circle. Give myself kind of just a little bit of a...
Are you filming any of this?
Oh shoot, I was.
Isn't it fun when I'm here and I interrupt you?
No, you're great. You always make everything better.
Oh, cutie.
Okay. Just rolling on this.
You don't need that much if you cutting the pattern.
Yeah, just kind of, I mean, just showing how to kind of score along these is valuable.
Okay, I'll be in and out.
Okay, I love you.
Bye guys.
Alright, and then I also want to mark my center point here with just like a little bit of a crisscross, so that I can transfer that onto my piece as well. And then right here, I'm going to be doing the same thing. Let's go up a little bit. Sorry guys, just trying to adjust this camera here. So that I can capture this. So same thing, this is where our notepad's going to sit, or on the reverse, the non-dominant hand, our little phone slot thing that we were talking about doing. So I just want to be able to kind of mark where this is going to go. And, you know, this kind of thing is going to help you a lot. Number one, if you're using this pattern, you don't have to try to guess where it was positioned or to make it work and have the straps not get in the way and this and that and try to guess. It's going to just tell you right here, here's your basically your spot you're going to stick it. It's going to be more consistent for you. If you're just doing this yourself, marking these type of things, you did all the work already when you patterned it and you held things on there and you found out where it was supposed to go. We traced it out. If you don't take the time to just do this real quick, then you're just going to have to figure that all over again, remark it on your phone, try to figure out where it's at, how it worked again. And so I find it's just best to just mark it, you know, transfer it, make it part of your pattern so that you have those outlines of where those things are going to go, and it just will save you that time down the road since you already did the effort to begin with. Shoot, where did my other, there we are. Okay, cool. So we got all our pieces cut out now. So we are ready to transfer it onto foam. Let me grab some foam real quick. We're going to need 2mm and 4mm. Great thing. Grabbing the foam pieces. The great thing about these are they're going to fit on our 11 by or our 12 by 18 sheets. that will make life much easier. Because we can just throw them on these. Sorry, grabbing some from my scrap bin here and stuff. Okay. So we're gonna go 2mm for a lot of this. And then we'll do 4mm for our straps and for this piece that goes on the top of the back of the hand. Because we're going to end up at 4mm thick between these two layers basically. And I just want the 2mm where it's going to be nice and flexible and be a little bit, you know, thinner, not going to take up tons of space, but with the what the foam, it's going to be plenty strong to be able to do this. So here we go. We'll set our 4mm pieces off to the side, and we will bring in our 2mm pieces. I don't think we'll be able to fit both of these on one sheet because they're both quite large. So we'll stick with one. And we'll see how this goes. So you want to try to orient it in the way that's going to use your space the best and not waste your foam. You guys seeing this okay? This is going to be sweet having cardstock too. It's going to trace really well. Probably need fewer pins. Maybe I need to print my stuff on cardstock more often. Look how that's just going to lay nice and flat on its own for the most part. Now my foam, lots of pieces of my 2mm foam in my little collection pile there, I've taken to show people how strong it is, and I just like try to rip it, or have two people yanking on it and stuff like that. So oftentimes you'll see that mine might be a little bit more wavy than you would usually get in our flat packs. You can see there's just kind of a little bit more wave in there from having some stretching, but not ripping because of its strength. So here we go. I'm gonna grab my silver marker. Might be. This one's pretty old. So it might be gone. Okay, I think that one's. Oh, maybe there might be something coming. So left in there. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to use a different one. Alright, here we go. It's almost with this cardstock. The pins aren't near as necessary. Mostly they're just there to kind of keep it from sliding around on me so much, and not as much of like holding the paper down. Well, that's handy. And then I'm going to mark my registration marks. Okay, so I made these two bigger, just because those were more reference marks rather than registration marks. And I haven't decided yet if there's a better way to mark those where it's just kind of like reference, like, hey, this is something's gonna line up here. I don't necessarily want to do it in a different color kind of thing, but maybe that would be the best way to go. Okay, so if you guys remember, I don't know how well you guys are seeing this, but if you guys remember, I just did kind of a score line here along these registration marks. I just cut into the cardstock just in a little line, just so I could get my pen down in there, my little marking pen, and just put some kind of mark there just so that I know kind of how much that's going to be overlapping and where those are going to line up, roughly. Okay, I've got my registration marks marked up. What I want to mark is my outline here. So what I generally tend to do is I'll do that in the same silver color, but because it's dashed, I know, hey, I'm not cutting that. That's just a reference for me. I don't know with this one if that's showing up. In there like the other pens would. Just keep going with that. Hopefully there's some getting in there. Usually with the fine tip pens, I can press down in there and get between the paper. I know that I'm getting that marked. So I'm just kind of relying on maybe some of that ink bleeding through. Guess I can just peek in this little corner and see. Yeah, nothing's coming through on that with this marker. Okay, so let me swap over to maybe one of these guys. I think that's working. These Milwaukee Inksol Sharpie or permanent markers have a really nice, fine, sturdy tip on them. And so I think that's letting me be able to press in there, even though it's kind of more of a marker style. It does have kind of a firm pointed tip that I think I'm able to get in there enough to mark this. Okay, cool. Alright, so I think we've got that. Once we pop off these pins, we want to make sure we label this as our A piece. Now, I have on here 2mm foam, 2 times mirrored, because if you're going to be making the other gauntlet, you're going to flip this over and use the other side. Well, so the ink didn't come through, but I have pressure markings from doing it that I can see where that was supposed to be. And mark that. Okay. So this is our A piece. And this is our left. So I'm just going to mark that as AL, so I know that this is my left A piece. Okay, cool. So the yellow came through there for marking that. Now you know what is cool with this? We can just cut it with scissors. we want to. Doesn't need to be super perfect. What's interesting and cool though, when you cut the foam with scissors, is instead of giving you like a really sharp edge that you'd get from cutting it with the knife, you get a little bit more of a rounded edge, just because it kind of like, as it clips, it kind of compresses down that top part of it as it cuts through, which is perfect for this because I'm going to try to give this kind of a leather look for the gauntlets. So you can cut that with scissors if you want. Hey, see you, Thomas. Have a good one. Seabones asked, "What tips do I have with using FOMO?" I actually just put out a video not too long ago on the channel that you'd want to check out, where I kind of go through some of the key tips and stuff for working with FOMO and what you can do with it, kind of thing. So if you go to like the channel page, the YouTube channel page, and then go to videos, and it should show the most recent videos. There's one that has like a picture of some FOMO stuff, FOMO tub with some elements on it, that'll give you some good tips on that. But the biggest tip is water is your friend when working with FOMO, to help you smooth things out, to help you increase the working time, and whatnot. So, okay, cool. Well, there's our A piece. Let's do our B piece. Now this one, we would definitely be able to fit more than one on a sheet. So far it's looking like maybe you'd be at 3 red 2mm pieces, because you'd be able to do 1 and 2 pretty easily on this. So for this build, for both of your gauntlets, you know, you'd get away with doing a variety pack and have you'd have plenty of 6mm left over and plenty of 4mm left over, and you'd even have, you know, a good amount of 2mm left over. So the variety pack would be sufficient to make this both gauntlets, I think, from what I can tell so far. Okay, let's pin this down, mark it up. Really only just going on the corners with this, with the cardstock, it's really nice. Okay. You know what, now that I'm getting into it here, I didn't do this on the pattern, but I'm thinking I want to bevel this angle over here. I didn't mark it on the pattern, but I'm going to do it now. So I'm going to go with a gold on this edge. And I'm going to bevel it that way. So usually the arrows signify which way the blade tip is going as you're entering the foam. So you're going to enter along the line and your blade tip's going to go that way. Doesn't matter what bevel you're doing on this, I'm just going to bevel it just because we're going to have those straps coming around, and I'm just going to try to decrease the straight drop off that those straps are going across, a little sit a little bit smoother across there as it goes. Okay, the other thing we needed to mark was all of our line dash lines here. You know, I think actually a regular pen might be our best way to go. Or pencil, I'm going to go in here. See. Sammy asks, what days are you going to FanX? I'll probably be there every day. It'd be awesome if you got Sammy in real life, like in person. That would be sweet. Yeah, I'm going to be there every day, I think. At FanX, so I'll be fun. It's kind of weird. It feels weird to like have something happening. After all this. So if nothing else with this pencil, I'm at least just kind of making some little indents on the foam underneath the pattern here that I'll be able to then, when I pull it off, just trace with my silver. Okay, so I've got these lines marked. I've got my overlaps, I've got my registration marks. I think we're good to pull the pins. Okay, so like we guessed, it was just making marks on it. And not, the foam is like recovering pretty quickly from the marks being placed in it, and I'm having a little bit of troubles fully seeing them. Okay, there we go. That should do it for us. Okay, we're at 12 o'clock. Alright, we need to mark this as our B piece. And this is our left B piece. Okay, for this one, I'm just gonna go with the good old Cos tool straight cutter. Get ourselves some nice clean lines. Cool, perfect. Then we need to do a beveled cut right along this edge. So you guys remember, secret to good bevel cuts, sharp blade, right foam, hand position. Here we go. So we got sharp blade, we got the right foam. It's going to help us rather than hinder us when we're cutting the beveled angle. And then I'm using my hand as a wedge to create the beveled angle I want, starting slightly before my cut and then coming into it. And then instead of moving my hand, I move my entire arm, just keeping my eye on that line that I'm wanting to cut along. go. And then we got ourselves a nice good clean bevel right there for our B piece. Okay, so if we're looking at this, this is going to go around the arm. Let me take my watch off. This piece is the one that wraps around here. We've got some overlap on this side. With that piece there. Overlapping up. It's hard to hold it on here. There we go. So that's gonna sit on like that. This piece is gonna be our flap that we're going to be able to flip up and take our notes and stuff. And then it's also gonna hold the straps that come around and snug this up over here. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at there. That's those two pieces down. We just have our 4mm pieces left. Let's get these cut out, and I think that'll be a good stopping point for us today. I'm sorry for some of the delays trying to find stuff and then getting started with having to run to the store to print this. But let's grab our 4mm with the foam here. And we're gonna just place these. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna give these some more length because I actually want to cut them longer by about 1.5 inches maybe. I'm gonna mark where the end of this is, but I'm gonna give them some extra length when I draw them on there. Let's see. April says, that WTF is so sturdy it makes me want to remake stuff I made before. Right? Same here. I'm like, the Captain America shield and stuff I made before, I had to use like the big thick foam, and I had to try to like hide its thickness and everything, and it would kind of lose its shape easily. And I'm like, man, I want to remake that shield and do it with like 6mm width of foam or 4mm width of foam. Have this nice thin shield that's gonna have a great shape to it. Yeah, totally. There's stuff that I'm like, man, I wish I had done that out of, that I had with the foam when I did that project. But yeah, I'm glad you're liking it so much. I love it. And like, these CosTools cutters and What the Foam are like such a great combination because it gets you, like, you get such clean cuts with What the Foam just in general, but then you add in like that, being able to get that perfectly straight cut for anywhere where you have a seam, and it's just like, it just makes it that much better because you don't have to worry about it not lining up straight and different things because you just got such good straight cuts, especially along seam lines and that kind of stuff. And it just makes a lot less work you have to do with like sanding or different things afterwards, you know? So I'm just going to do kind of a dashed line along that back side here where I'm tracing this because I'm going to extend it out. So I'm kind of just tracing this as a dash line because I want to know where that ended, but then I want to just kind of extend it out a little bit. And this is going to be hidden, at least the way I'm planning on doing it. So I'm going to mark the center point here with my reference color, which is my yellow, as well as my registration marks. Well, I've got that. There we go. And then I'm going to go pencil, get in there to those little grooves. Oops. Mark my circle here. So I will say with the cardstock, it is a little bit harder to do this trick of kind of just scoring it and then getting your marker in there to mark stuff, because it's got a little bit more thickness to it that you have to try to get through. Okay, sorry guys, I think the dog's wanting out. Let me let him out real quick. But there we go. Brighten up that center dot just a little bit, so we know where that is. Now if you guys remember, that's where our measuring tape's gonna sit. Trying to figure out the best way to mount that. Can do it a couple ways. We could do some 2mm width of foam that we kind of like heat shape over the top of it and just cut out a little slot so that we can like slide it in and out, and then you have an opening in it over here for the tape to come out, which we can definitely do. That would work. We could also just create a little like plastic 3D thing that kind of cuts in and pops up and holds it in place. I'm thinking I actually like the 2mm idea, because we'll have 2mm left over. That should work. So, okay, let's do these guys. Pop the pins off. Okay, perfect. And then go straight cutter on this. Perfect. And then for my straps, oops. Out there. Okay, and then this last bevel I'm just going to cut by hand. This new little, I still haven't taken the tag off yet, but this new little honing steel is super handy because I really only ever use like this much of it, basically, when I'm doing these smaller ones. I'll use a little bit more when I'm doing the longer blades, but it's so nice to have it just be just not as big and bulky. Okay, I'm gonna try to go with a nice deep bevel on that. Now this doesn't have to be perfect because this is going to be hidden underneath. It's just so that I can glue that up underneath and it'll have a nice smooth transition. since it could be, you know, on the side that your arm's on. You don't want anything too big or bulky poking you or anything like that. So here we go. I did not mark these. I need to hurry and do that. This is my D left. This is my E left. Okay. There we go, guys. So we got all of our elements here. The next thing that we're probably going to need to do is I want to add a leather look to all of these pieces. And so that will be just, I have a video on that if you guys are curious how to do that. Just taking tinfoil, crumpling it up, unfolding it, setting it on top, and actually just pressing down with an iron. Don't move the iron around, just press down on it. And just move it around, and that will kind of like heat seal and dimple the surface to kind of give it more of a leather look. And we'll want to do that to start off before we start doing everything else, just so that we can get that look on there, because it's harder to add later when it's not flat. You can do it still, but it doesn't give you quite as good of an effect or as permanent of an effect when you do it later. It's just just gets a little bit harder to do. So we'll want to do them both at that. So what we're going to do is, so right here, this marking, that's going to be where the end of this was, of this line. And we're going to just cut a little slit in the foam here and run this through it and actually glue this section on the back side, so that it kind of looks like it comes out and wraps around. And when we pop this up, that'll kind of help be like a little bit of a sturdy little stabilizer on the underside here, kind of holding that up on this side. So that'll be interesting. I think that should look good. But yeah, so it'll be leatherizing these and then gluing them together. So pretty exciting. Let me switch camera angles so I can chat with you guys face to face. There we go. What? Oh my goodness. Sammy. What the? Thank you. Holy cow. That definitely is some motivation. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Wait, are you saying some motivation to keep going right now, or to just keep going on the project? Need to figure out what you're saying there. Oh my goodness, Sammy. You just like never cease to amaze, man. Yeah, exactly, April. It's like the Wonder Woman bracer straps. That's kind of what I'm pulling from. Let me pull up. I actually even had the thought, because I have the little brass button studs that I did for the Wonder Woman band braces. I'm thinking of just using those on here as well. So let me know what you guys think. But I'm thinking of using these same button studs, because that would allow, because I was trying to figure out a way, I want it to look a little bit retro, a little bit high-tech. It's going to be kind of an interesting gauntlet combination, like high-tech retro. I mean, just kind of like a lot of the Assassin's Creed stuff, right? It's like, you know, this crazy mechanism that's like before its time, right? So I wanted to kind of have this element of like high-tech, but like in the past. And so I think like these little button studs would be a great way to do it, because I was trying to think, I was like, okay, I could do nylon webbing straps, and I could, you know, have it be able to like tighten down on your arm and everything, but then that might be too futuristic looking with the nylon webbing, too tactical looking maybe. So I wanted to do kind of a leather look strap, but then I was like, how do I do that to where I don't have strappies flipping around in your face in the way, but also be able to allow it for other people, different arm sizes and things like that, to be able to adjust it and make it fit without having to do too much customization. So I was thinking that would work great. You could put a couple holes into the strap, and then you could strap it down onto which button, you know, where you need it to fit comfortably on the button strap thing here. So that could work. Let me know what you guys think of that. But April, we're on the same page, thinking on that. So, yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering about. I just had that thought this morning, actually, of doing that. Otherwise, you know, just trying to figure out a way to be able to kind of, for even just for each individual, you know, like your arm will be slightly different size on a given day, kind of thing, right? Just with like any swelling or anything that might happen. And it'd be nice to be able to just kind of adjust that to snug it on tight. And maybe the button thing might be too many, like, you know, too big of jumps between buttons and stuff, and we need to do something that's more kind of like a cinching thing. But I'd want to do it with the leather looking straps. But anyway, let me know what you guys think on that. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Sammy. You rock, man. Like, so amazing. That definitely is motivation, and you guys are motivation to keep me working on stuff and keep me going, and whatnot. So I really appreciate it. So awesome, and you guys are amazing. So thanks for tuning in today, guys. I think I'm getting pretty hungry. I need to grab myself some lunch. It's past, you know, we're almost at the 1.5 hour mark on this. I feel like I'm excited about the progress we got on this. I'm going to try to get a bunch more I need to get a bunch more progress on this and actually crank this thing out. So I might have this done before we meet next week on the live stream. What date is next week? Yeah. So I hopefully will have this buttoned up. Now this is going to be just getting this part built for the video, and then I think we're going to do some follow-up videos on, you know, maybe on some of the gizmo additions, right? We've planned for it, adding the straps and doing it in a way where we can add the little mechanism on the bottom for our sharpening honing steel. And I'm so excited to make that. I'm like intimidated at the same time because it involves some 3D printing stuff, 3D modeling, and I'm not as familiar with that. And I just like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I want to do it, but I'm like nervous to jump in and do it because I'm like, I don't know how much time that's going to take. But I'm excited about it. So I need to do that. And I have some cool ideas with that. And then we're going to do, you know, the measuring tape on the top here, on the back of the hand, wrist, or the back of the palm. I don't know if I showed you guys this one that I got. The other one was a little bit bulky, and so I actually got this one that has the tape, more of a flexible tape kind of thing, and when it's sitting on the back of the wrist, I'll be able to more easily just grab that and like measure something kind of thing. So I don't need to go on that side, but yeah, anyway, so, and then it has a push button to just kind of like retract it back. So that would sit on the back of the wrist here, just be easy access to just go and then like measure something. You can measure around a curve, you can measure your head, you know, all with it just right there off your wrist. It's really quite convenient. So yeah, and then when you're done with it, you just go twink and just retract it back in. Like that. Back in on your wrist, you're back just working. You don't have to try to set this in a pocket, remember where you put it, anything like that. It's just there. So that'll be cool. Pretty excited about that. We've got the notebooks figured out. I'm gonna just do a little elastic that pops out of the foam right here, just like kind of a little slot, a little slit right there, a little slit right there, and have an elastic that comes up through. And then what you can do is you can reload this notebook by sticking that through the elastic, and then that'll hold it in there, and you can just have that, and you can flip through your notebook and everything like that. And then when you're done, you know, slide that out from the elastic, slide in your new one, right? Pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully you guys had fun with that. Christian, what's up? Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a good idea, April. Doing what Susie does with an elastic attached to the strap underneath so that it has more movement. That's smart. That way it can kind of tighten down just with the elastic having some tension on it. That's smart. I'll look at that. For sure. Krisham, I'm always here, just not chatting, but always here. Nice to see you, man. Sammy says, we need to see if your WTF rolls can pull a semi. I know, that would be the next step up. I mean, we pulled a pickup truck. So that would definitely be the next step to try to do. Because I don't know what else, you know? We could do a semi, and then I would guess that a tank would work way more than a semi. That would be next. I don't know, can you put a tank in neutral to tow it? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that'd be sweet. Cool, guys. Well, thank you guys so much. You guys are the stream team. You guys are amazing. Thanks for tuning in and watching the progress on this. I'm excited to have this buttoned up and get a video out for you guys on it, because I think this will be really cool, and I think this would be a really fun thing for all of us in the community to just kind of like make. We all have, and we're like these hardcore legit crafters because we've got the gauntlet to prove it. And anyway, I'm just super excited. I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm excited to see what you guys think, and if you guys make it, and see the ones you guys make, and what you guys do to them. But should be pretty sweet. So we'll do the main video where it's just like building it, the main base of it, and getting the pattern out there, and then we'll have some follow-up videos on adding the extras, and kind of how that process goes. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are amazing. Did you want to say anything?
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to say bye.
Sammy donated $100 again.
Sammy, thank you.
He's amazing. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. Keep up the great work. I hope you guys have a great weekend and a great rest of your week today. Great weekend, and we'll catch you guys in the next one next week. So,
Yeah.
thank you guys.
See ya.
Cosplay on, my friends.